bright, doesn't it? What's happening, guys, girls? Welcome to my road. 53 years I've been wobbling up and down here. Yeah. Just going down, it's very bright. That's where the sun sets, you see, up that end of my road. That's looking up the end of my road. In fact, you get some lovely sunsets up there in the winter time. Anyway, where are we going? We're going down to the village because we've got half hour left before the post office shuts. And then you can't get no electric. I've just had a look. I've got enough. I've got about £2.59 on there, which will last me. I mean, there's only me there. It's not like I do a lot, charge my phone and whatnot. Spin a few records. Yeah, so we got to 8 o'clock to get down here. So just going to put my last £10 on this electric, but it's all good. I'll get paid next week, so in fact I've just done my non-payment week, so probably shouldn't have bought that Madness record, but it don't matter. I'm here still, do you know what I mean? As long as I've got power, that's all I really worry about. Something to eat and some power, I'm all good. To be honest, where I've lived in the same house all my life, even if I've got no money and I run out of power, I just ring the power company and they just send me a number through and they just bop it on and take it off what I pay. I've got like a key. I'm still on the old school key meter, guys. And obviously because I've lived there all my life, people are more, how can I put it, they're more likely to lend you a bit of electricity or gas or whatever, do you know what I mean? Because they know you're not going anywhere because you've been there since you were born. So that's what I say to these people. It's not like I'm going anywhere. I'd have gone by now. Anyway, we're just going down here to school lane. This was my way to school, guys. This was my way to primary school when I was a kid. In fact, on my first day at primary school, I ran away. I attacked a primary school teacher called Mrs. Twillier. She tried grabbing me and I kicked her right in the leg and ran off back up to my house. And my mum had to walk me back down. That was my first day at Adlow School. I got in there and obviously with ADHD and that, you put an ADHD kid back then in the class, he's gonna want to leave, and that's what. Well, like I said to you in my last video, anyone that watched the ADHD video, in the last video just then, when I said about secondary school, I could just get up and walk out because I didn't give a fuck. I was obviously like that the first day at primary school. Because I come whistling up there, I'll show you. This is called School Lane, guys. And believe it or not, my dad was born at the end of this lane up there. So he went down this road as well, going to school, down this lane. And the actual granddad and my granny would have met at this primary school, which I went to as well. There's quite a few generations of us. Because I said to my dad, if you got the naughty school book out of the school down there, you'd probably find me, followed by my old man, followed by my granddad. And that's where my granddad met me gran. They would have met here because they didn't live in this village. My dad was born in this village in 1936. My dad was born as a war child, and my dad used to sit up the road there watching the Germans coming over and the Spitfires going up. And obviously living in Kent, we see quite a bit of action because the first place the Germans was coming was straight across. See them white cliffs and bzz, yeah. Got quite a few. I'll do a little video one day. I'll show you the doodlebug holes and the bomb holes we got around this village. There was also a pub that was blew up. And I've got quite a funny story about what happened when the pub got blew up in the middle of the night. The pub was called the Broom. One of them doodlebugs that used to come over and buzz him till they run out of fuel. and when they stopped buzzing, obviously they fall from the sky, and it blew the pub up. This was back when my dad was a little boy. In fact, the war ended on my dad's 8th birthday, because he can remember people partying out in the street and all that went with the war ending. Yeah. Bit of history for you. Anyway, come down here. There's a new bit to school on as well. There's an old bit. The actual proper school is a doctor's surgery now. The original Adlow school was a doctor's surgery and a library. There was 2 bits when I went there. But... no worries. Polite young lad. In fact, they're all quite polite round here, man, to be honest with you. But there's a little library. This is the original Adlow school. Is this building here. And the smoke's gone out. And that bit there, all this bit here. This was the playground. This bit here was the playground. And I'll show you in a minute, once I've got my electric, I'll show you during the war, when the Germans used to come over bombing, what they used to do to school kids. Because they used to put them under a tree. Hello mate, how you doing?
We're good.
Well, you babysitting?
Yeah.
This is the village down there. I got run over down here when I was a kid. My mum sent me across the road here. And this car hit me right round. And this bloke got out. And because he was in the wrong for running me over, right here it was. I was about 7, right in the road there. And I got spun right across here. And the geezer got out. And my mum was a nurse. After my mum was a rock and roll star, she was a nurse, my mother. Looked after cancer patients. And the geezer got out of the car with he was offering my mum wads of money. But she didn't take any of it. And I went back into school that day. So yeah, the only time I've been run over, it just spun me round and round and round. And I still went to school. Is the electric working or not? I found something left. It's probably enough to last me. Yeah, please. There's something wrong with that. Quite a few of them have got that up today. I see one in Tunbridge at that. Oh, right. Yeah. Well, she just left you in here all night?
Yeah, I've been here since about 1:30 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's all right till it gets busy, isn't it? Then I expect you'll...
Yeah, luckily, Saturday, we're not too bad. We get hit and miss some days and some not.
Have a good night when you get home anyway.
Yeah.
You got to work tomorrow?
No, take Monday.
I'll catch you later. Poor girl, man, they working her to death meeting now. We're just down here now. I'll show you where we are. I'll just show you up here. This is the oldest road in the village. I'll zoom in on the tower. We've got a big Gothic tower in our village. This is the oldest road in the village, guys. I live in a very old village. Can you see that there? Massive Gothic tower. Ooh. That's called a folly. And that building there used to be like a pub back in Dick Turpin's time, when all the horse and carts and that used to come through. Anyway, we'll go back up through the school. I'll show you that tree. So, like with disabilities over the road, but there's a carer there, I think. He's making lots of noises. Cheers, mate. Oh, the geezer in a wheelchair. I was going to ask if they was alright, but I think that she's under control. She's got it under control. Yeah, up here, look. There used to be another tree up here. And I've done, this is going to sound really strange. It was called, what was it called? Maypole dancing. Maypole dancing. I've done around that tree. Anyway, there's one of the trees they used to put the kids under during the war. As you can see, it's quite a big one. There's another bit of the school over there, which was operational when I was a kid. None of this is a school now, but this used to be our playground out here. We used to have a school swimming pool, right there, an outdoor one. That's where we learned to swim. It was straight through that fence. There's a houses there now, but that used to be the school swimming pool. There used to be another big tree in the middle here, with a bench around it. Over here, in fact, my classroom used to be, I'll show you where my classroom was when I was first at school, probably in the second year at school. It's a medical centre now, but there used to be a door there, and all this is the old school. That's how you used to get in. There used to be a door there. Yeah, and that's the original building still there. This is where the school fountain used to be. People, I guess I'll get some people from my village watching this. That's where the fountain used to be. That's where the youth club used to be. There used to be windows on the other side of this. I'll show you. You can actually, you can see on the brickwork there. It's bingo, I think. Bingo, mate. I would have showed you that wall a bit more, but I think they've got the bingo on in there. Tell you what I might do. I might walk up the other way, just for a nice walk, 'cause it's quite nice out here tonight, to be honest with you. I'm going to walk down here, back, well, no, go up past the old pub. It's just dead. It's dead around this village now. But if you'd have been here in like 19 anywhere, I was going in pubs at a very early age as a kid with my dad. It was all different back then. A lot of the community evolved around the pub. If you can understand that. I don't suppose the young ones would understand, but you older ones will. All this little village, all the dads all went in the pubs. And a lot of the trouble that they used to get in the village, no, they didn't call the police. The dads sorted it out themselves. They used to have, up that line there, it used to be like all sort of barren fields opposite it. And one time there was someone jumping out on the girls up there. And the police knew about it, but they left it to all the dads. And all the dads got him one night up there. I don't know what they'd done to him. But I can imagine. I don't suppose he did it again. But yeah, this here where we are now, this is called the square. This is the village square, which was all different in my day. Anyway, we're going to walk up now, past the pub. And like I was saying, if you was down here in the 70s and the 80s, and you'd have been standing here, you'd have heard the music from the pub. You'd have heard the music from the other pub up there. But the other pub up there, there's another two pubs up there. Well, there used to be. One was called the Prince of Wales, which is now sort of not a pub, it's like an antique shop with a little cafe in it. And there was another one called the Blacksmith's Arms. and now that's not a pub anymore. That's a fish and chip shop. And what is sad is this building over here. I can remember back in the 80s, right, when we used to have, when we was all skinheads and that. Well, I still am, but do you know what I mean? Back in the bad boy days, fucking, I can remember sitting down here. We used to have fights with the next village up. And I can always remember my pal, I won't name him, but he's sitting on that roof pulling the slates off of the toilet, throwing it at them. So he's all coming up in cars and that with bats. So it was, boys, back in them days. There weren't no guns and all that shit. It was fists and whatever you could pick up that was around. Crazy. I've got some good stories, I tell you. But they're all true, do you know what I mean? I think that's because of my ADHD. I've got a very good memory. I've got a photographic memory, man. Nearly like a video memory. I can literally, certain things, I can just remember, especially here, because I've been here all my life. There's a pub here, another empty pub. That used to be pumping. You'd have had to fight your way to the bar, man. Give it another hour, you'd have had to fight your way to the bar. You'd have opened the door and all the smoke would have come out and no one gave a fuck. No one gave a fuck, man. I've seen so many tear-ups out here, fights out here with the police and all sorts. I had a fight over there with the police one night. That was the night I got handcuffed from there to my leg, which was the first and only time I've ever been handcuffed from there to there. But that's because I was really struggling though. I used to go quietly until I was quite, well, even the police say today, some of the older ones I see, say to me, you was no bother for Phil. I said, no, I was alright, you know what I mean, till you get a cocky copper back then who used to poke you, or prod you, or pull you, push you about, and I weren't having that, so I did back to them what they did to me. But back then, it was part of the course of getting nicked, you know what I mean? It was, you might have a little rumble with a copper. Now you get nicked for it, you know what I mean? You'd be up on all sorts of charges. So would the copper. But now it's mad how it's all changed. I can even go back to in the 40s when my dad was a little boy, and like during the war, down there where I said my pal used to sit on the roof, that building now, that's where the Hadlow policeman used to stand. He used to have a big black cape on, my dad said. My dad said you'd never get rid of him arm shot of him. And I said, why is that then? He said, because he'd give you a good clout round the head and tell you to get home if it was dark. Maybe that's what's missed today, guys. Them kind of police that was around years ago, when people did respect the police a bit more. Do you know what I mean? There is no respect for the police today. The youths of today have got no respect for anything. Maybe that's because they've never been punished for anything. That's the only way I can just think about that. Do you know what I mean? You look look all them riots and what's going on. Smashing their own villages, smashing their own places up, man. What's that all about? If they're going to target something, you target the government, don't you? You don't target your own community. What kind of fucking idiot targets their own community? It's crazy. But I don't know. That's going over towards my road now. That's brightening nice where the sun's setting. This road's called the Cherry Orchards because it used to be a cherry orchard. Sorry if it's a bit dark on here. Apparently, we've got a little Indian summer coming next week. I think it's supposed to get pretty warm, but what I can say is the nights, this year the nights started drawing in a lot earlier, I noticed in Kent. Still got quite a bit of farming going on out here in the countryside. got all apples to pick, all the strawberries and things like that would all be done. A lot of farms in my village. That's what I've done a lot of farm work myself. What have I done? I've done raspberry picking, strawberry picking, hop picking, apple picking, all sorts of picking involves fruit. I guess people that live, if you go to Lincolnshire or Nottinghamshire, they do a lot of vegetables and that up there, and they're all sort of out on the farms. But down here, which is why it's known as the Garden of England, is because it's where all the fruit is. And to be honest, we get the hottest weather, really. Obviously, being next to France, we get a lot of hot air wafting. In fact, I'm probably about 30 miles from Dover, 35 miles. I'm about 45 miles, I'm about 35. I'm about 35 miles southeast of London, but I'm not from London or anything like that. I'm a man of Kent. If you're born on the other side of the river, you're a Kentish man. There you go. And I think for the girls, it's a Kentish maid and a maid of Kent. What's he on about? You're probably thinking. Now, these are just like Kent things. Obviously, my dad's a Kent man, my mum's a Scouser, so I've got a bit of both in me. To be honest with you, I've got a lot of my mother's Scouse traits, which I'm noticing as I'm growing up. But it's all good. All because my dad went to a concert when he was in the Navy with his Scouse pal, and my mum was performing in Portsmouth on stage. And in my mum's group, they were all from Liverpool, and my dad's Scouse mate in the Navy said, "Do you want to come and see my cousin tonight?" And his cousin weren't my mum, it was another girl. But basically he went along to that, and then about 6 months later they got married. Yeah. Had 5 kids and I'm the youngest. But that's when my mum stopped the music, about 1960 something. And then my dad left the Navy. My dad was in the submarine, which was the same as what my granddad was in. He was in the submarines as well. Not forgetting my other granddad. He was in the First World War, but he was on a horseback. So you've seen the film War Horse, that kind of thing. That's what my granddad did. My granddad was underage. He actually lied to get to the First World War. Yeah, he got out then because my granddad had been a farm boy, riding horses all around farms. Obviously, this is the time before mechanical tractors and stuff, machinery. So it was all horses. And because my granddad was proper good on a horse, they said, "Yeah, you come here." And they got my granddad, and my granddad was in the 8th Royal King's Lancers, guys. And what they are was they rode on horseback with a big lance. And he also had a big sword. He had a rifle, a pistol, and yeah. What he did was, you had no man's land and all the trenches, and then you had your big guns. And what my granddad had to do was take his horse and his gun and pull it right forward. And then obviously, well, to be honest, I'm very lucky to be in myself, to be honest with you, because a lot of my granddad's pals are still in the mud in France, along with their horse. Sorry to lower the tone there about the horses in the mud, but it's true. A lot of them boys are still in the mud. They're the real heroes, not them that came home. Them that came home were just very, very lucky. But the ones still in the mud, they're the real heroes, and they're still finding them today. And there's a lot of things from the war that still linger around today, especially like unexploded bombs in my area in Kent. Obviously, Kent was heavily bombed. There was, you can look it up on the net. Look up Westmoreland Airfield during the war. It's just up the 2 villages up from me. And obviously, my dad sat down the road here watching it all. And the amount of bombs that was dropped around here, and like unexploded ones being found all the time, and in the rivers. Yeah, bit of history there. Anyway, little walk to the shop. Let's put the electric key in. I didn't think I was going to be able to get it. She had a sign up on the post office saying temporarily out of order. But to be honest, I got on quite well with her. So it's all good. So what I've got to do, lose this jacket. Seem to be trying to dig out my warm jackets now. And I'm going to be buying my new paraffin heater. Because I'm not paying these ridiculous gas prices, so I'm going to be buying this quite expensive heater. I'm back to £2.53, man. Back to £2.53, but I got £10 emergency, so really I'm £10. £12.53. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my little journey and my little history lesson. Really, I should really fucking do some proper history of my village and whop it on the net, do you know what I mean? So it's there for... Because a lot of people in my village don't know jack shit about it, and a lot of them I think would be interested to know about it. And I ain't claiming to be some kind of know-it-all, but where I was my dad's carer, and lived here with the fella all my life, I had a good connection with him. Obviously, knowing now it's my ADHD, that's why we connected. I've got all of his history as well on this village, because I was born here and he was born in the next road. So I've got like my dad's history as well. And a little bit from my gran. I don't know what you guys was like with your grannies, but my granny, my dad's mother, I think I was, because I lost my mum when I was 10 years old, when I was sort of very young. All my aunts and my gran and that used to treat me, well, they would anyway, used to treat me a bit specialer than the rest of them. And I think I was my gran's favourite as well. And I was my mother's favourite. But my mother always said to me dad, oh, Phil's definitely a bit different than the rest of them, because obviously she had 4 kids. None of them got ADHD. And then she's had me. It was probably just off the scale. Doing all the naughty stuff. It's mad, isn't it? Anyway, that's right. I'm going to sit down, guys, before I fall down. And I might show you this Madness record as I've got it here. Look, I've still been reading it and looking over it. You check this out. Someone's probably tuned into a few of my videos tonight and thought, what? What is he, a history channel, an ADHD channel, a madness channel? I'm an everything channel, man. I'm like a, well, it's like a, I don't know. How would I say? I'm definitely a music channel. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm called what I am. I do sort of more, sort of vlogs. Is it what they call it? A vlog. It's like a video diary of what, you know what I mean? All sorts of things. But mainly it's a lot of records and a lot of music. I go through phases where you might see me on here just unopening box after box, day after day of records. I do go through phases like that, but I've got to the stage now where I'm obviously on the 2 time, big time. I've nearly got it all, guys. The only way I can go forward is to just get bigger ticket items. Do you know what I mean? Saying that, there's a few nice all you two-tone fans out there. I've been posting the links as well on the community page. There's a few nice specials records coming out, like clear vinyl ones, that look really nice. And I found a link, right, about where I can get it for 20 quid. So I might, what I do, once I know it's legit, which I think it is, a proper two-tone address, like shop, I'll bop it up. Hello, Jackie. Thank you. I do all sorts of videos about all sorts of stuff. But obviously I've waffled on about history quite a bit because I was like, lived there all my life. And my dad, he was born in the next road. But yeah, good evening to you and everybody else out there. I'm just going to spark this up because it went out as I was walking down the shop. Nearly finished it. So I'm smoking a spliff, guys. Yes, I'm having a spliff. Cool. Got my blowtorch out again. So I bought some weed just to, you might have seen on my video earlier, I'm moaning about my leg and a pain in it. But I have a spliff, it's gone, man. Can't feel the pain. Mad, isn't it? Weed. Yeah, it's illegal. Well, I ain't actually. I can, like some medical cannabis. I'm actually entitled to medical cannabis. Not that I do. For my autism and ADHD, but to be honest with you, like I told my specialist, this stuff really should be legal, man. I think alcohol's far more fucking excuse me language, far more dangerous, isn't it? It always amazes me. It always amazed me that you can go down the shop and buy 10 bottles of vodka, come home and poison yourself, kill yourself. You can't go down the road and buy a bit of weed. But I can get what's called a weed pass, and what that is, guys, basically, is if you've got a medical condition, like I've got neurological brain disorders, which is autism and ADHD, and there are other things as well, like fibro, whatever it's called, and MS and multiple sclerosis and all sorts of stuff, right, that you can have medical cannabis for. But it's the wrong type, guys. Well, I've looked into it because I can get it on prescription, and the whole thing's a bit of a con, really, because it's not THC, it's the other stuff, which the CBZs, is it, that don't do jack shit for me, really. It's the THC that gets the ADHD brain active. Anyway, I'm going to answer a couple of questions now. I'm going to try and say your name, sir. Or the surname. Asmunderson. No, that sounds like it's from Norway. Correct me. What's the price of weed in England? He's asking now. Where I come from, you can get 3.5 grams for £30. You can get 7 grams for, what did I say, Norway? I'm around the correct area. Iceland, eh? Welcome along, mate, anyway. You're very welcome. Yeah, you can get a quarter of weed, which is like 7 grams for £55. But the stuff I get, it's proper, very strong. It's like, yeah, very strong. So I've just got that going off. I'll answer that while I'm on here. And we've got Jordan Bristow. Hello, Jordan. Where are you from? Sounds like you're in the United Kingdom, maybe. Who knows? What am I wanting to achieve by my videos? Pal is asking. Well, really, I'm a two-tone music channel. The band's Madness, the Specials, the Beat, the Selector, Bad Manners, the Body Snatchers. I really promote their music, but I also sort of blog about what I'm up to. Obviously, because I've been diagnosed with autism and ADHD at a late age in life, at like 50 years of age. I like to make videos about that to try and help other people that might be in my situation, or in my situation that I was in. I've obviously been diagnosed and I'm on medication now, which has changed my life. But I've got no learning problems with my autism or ADHD. I'm what's called high functioning. So I sort of understand it all. What else? I just do a bit of history on here about old stuff during the war. Stuff about submarines. My dad was in the submarines and my granddad was in the submarines. In fact, my father's probably been right up past Iceland back in the days. My dad used to go up the north a lot under the ice where they used to sort of spy on the Russians. That was back in the 50s. And obviously my granddad, who blew out of his submarine, but survived and then went back and got back in his submarine. He was obviously very active against the German U-boats. Also sea service in the Pacific. In fact, my granddad's got more war medals for submarine battles than I've had hot dinners. But I mean, we've always been quite good in the sea, which is the same today. I don't think Britain, as a fighting force, are that strong anywhere else. But in the sea, we are still quite strong in the sea. But to be honest with you, all you really need is nuclear submarines. That's all you need. Forget all the rest. But there you go. Waffling about all different subjects. I talk about a lot of things. But by all means, if you've got a question or you want to bring a topic up, just fire it up, guys. Fire it up. I'm open to all topics, as long as it's not ridiculous. It's all good. Anyway, there's not a lot of weed around, man. There's not a lot of weed around in my little village at the moment, man. I've been into the next town and there's a little bit there, but just having me a Vimto, guys. Vimto energy drink. Full of caffeine, but the caffeine, where I've got ADHD, has a reverse effect. Doesn't really wake me up. With an ADHD brain, caffeine has a reverse effect, so it just makes you sleepy and quite calm. But I feel all right anyway. Where I've had a spliff. In fact, this weed is quite strong. Where did I put it? There it is. It's definitely getting colder. It's definitely getting colder out there, guys and girls. Another few months and it'll be very dark out there and very cold. I hope we get a real snowy Christmas and winter out there. I quite like the snow. Yeah, we don't seem to have had that much over the last whatever. Not as much as when I was a kid. It used to snow every Christmas. Obviously, doesn't do that anymore. Be it global warming, be it whatever, be it evolution. Who knows? They say it's global warming, is it? Or is the world just evolving? Who knows, man? All just assumptions. one thing we do know is that we're all actually made of dust. We're all made of dust, and we turn to dust, man. Everything is dust. That's a fact. Hello, Jackie. What's my favourite two-tone group? That's a real hard one. What, in order of... I'll put them in order, shall I? I suppose coming in last place would be... That's not that... And this is not because I don't like them. It's probably... And I'm going to see her soon at Tunbridge Wells, is the Body Snatchers. I ain't got a Body Snatchers LP, but there's one coming out soon, right? So I'm going to grab that. And the girl out of Body Snatchers, they're playing at Tunbridge Wells, so I'm gonna... I've seen the beat playing now, so I'm gonna go along to that and watch that. And then after them, it would have to be... And this is again not that I don't like them. I've got an LP of theirs and 12-inch, a single. Bad Manners. And Bad Manners, guys. Bad Manners is a little all you two-tone heads out there might think this is crazy, but I know a few crazy facts. Well, I've read Rankin Rogers' book and all that. It's fucking full of amazing stuff, some of these books. And you're getting it from the horse's mouth, do you know what I mean? The Rankin Rogers book. I forgot what I was saying there. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but I'll come back to that. Yeah, Bad Manners. And then I would say... Basically, what you've got left there now is obviously the Specials, Madness, the Beat, and the Selector. Coming in at fourth place would have to be... the Selector. And I've got shitloads of Selector albums. What does that leave? Madness, the Beat, and the Specials. Number 3 then. And I've never done this before, by the way. I'm sitting here now, giving you this as it's coming out live. Is... I don't know, anyone else out there, let me know after I've done mine, or you even that. No, you won't influence me anyway, but whack down whatever yours might be, or anyone who watches this video. I'll get a lot of views along the line, so if anyone's watching this, whop yours down. But yeah, in fourth place, I would have to say... this is too hard for me to do. It's definitely between... I don't know if I can pick... I might have to draw 2 of them. But I've got a winner. I know what's first. And I wouldn't have said that a few years ago. At the beginning of my collecting, I started collecting, right? Obviously, once Rankin Roger brought this channel together, right? He bought me... I got the Beat records, right? I bought all of them. I went from the Beat, and my view of who's the best changed as I started collecting all their LPs and started listening to it all again. And I went from the Beat into the Selector. And then when I went to Birmingham to watch the Rankin Roger Memorial concert by his son and the Beat, it was there I bought my first... I got some real rare classic Specials records, and that's where when I started grabbing the Specials records. What did I get? I got Live at the Moonlight Club, and I got the Coventry Automatics, right? Because I went in this record shop. I will give you who's where in a minute. I'll just tell you a little story that goes with it. because it's all relevant. I walked into the record shop in Birmingham, and obviously down here it's all sold out. I can't get. I don't. I see the app. I see the specials, more specials. I don't see Live at the Moonlight Clubs or anything different. Coventry Automatic. I didn't even know the Coventry Automatics were, guys. Right. I've gone into the shop and I've gone to the geezer's walking round, sort of filling the records up and whatnot. I've gone, hello mate. I said, I'm up here for this, and he was my age. He's like my age, and I said, you got any specials up here? He said, yeah. He said, you heard of the Coventry Automatics? I went, no. I said, who are they then? And he was going, that's like the specials before they turned into the specials. And I said, oh yeah. I said, what's that like then? And he said, do you like reggae music? I said, well, yeah, that's where I first started on dub reggae music, like years ago. And anyway, I bought, wait, probably seen it on my deck spinning around, people have. Dawning of a New Era by the Coventry Automatics, which is just unbelievable. Yeah, that's when I got all the specials ones. And then I went, where did I go from there? Got a Bad Manners one. Ain't got, oh, I've got a Funboy 3. You might have seen that. I played that last night, didn't I? Or the night before. I've got the best of Funboy 3 on green vinyl. I like to try and get the crazy coloured ones, man. They're a little bit more money, but worth a bit more money in the long run. The specials are your favourite? A great band, man. That's for sure. And then I went on a Madness one, where I just went, well, people who watch my videos regularly probably seen me. I went completely Madness. I went from having a couple of two-tone records to having nearly all of it. But anyway, back to the two-tone competition. In third place, I'm going to stick joint. In fact, I'm going to put two together, because on one of these bands been a lot more successful, which we'll look at in a minute, who's been the most successful, which would probably have to be Madness. But you know what I mean? You'd have to say that. But that's probably because the others are split up and people died and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the specials fell out straight after Ghost Town. But obviously, they came back. Obviously, not with all of them. When they did the anniversary tour, the 30th one, the specials, I think it was only fucking Jerry Dammers that wouldn't do it. You watch that on YouTube, man. That's banging. Yeah. But yeah, I'd put the beat. Now I'm gonna have to have. Now I've got to have three winners. I've got to have three winners, right? Which are the beat, the specials, and Madness. I've got to have all them together. I can't separate them, really. And considering the beat only made, what did they make? They made Just Can't Stop It. What Happened? Special Boat Service. They did 3 studio LPs. Specials did specials, more specials. They did 2. Selector would just be 1 with the proper lineup. I don't think Celebrate the Bullet was all of them. I'm not completely clued up on them, on that. But obviously, was it Too Much Pressure? That was all of them. See, they were all their first albums, whereas Madness, you got One Step Beyond. Their first single on two-tone, which launched Madness, was, got it in there, I've got them all in there, is Madness, The Prince, and on the B-side, it's, what is it? Madness, like we call it, Madness. And then you had the B, with Tears of a Clown on the A side, which is Terry Hall's favourite two-tone tune. And Terry Hall's favourite two-tone band is the Beat. How about that? Obviously, you put the Beat with all of them together, Rankin Roger, bless his soul, all of them together. It was I don't know, it's just, in my area, it's probably the same as yours. It just swept through, man. Swept through the country. I can remember watching a lot of music. I can remember listening to the radio and hearing specials, man. I think it was John Peel or someone on the radio. And I think he played Gangsters. And said, yeah, this is definitely going to be a hit. And obviously, it just all went from there. You had, and back to Bad Manners. That's what I forgot. I was going to say something. Do you remember? But I forgot. Bad Manners. The only reason they're on Two Tone, they didn't release a single on Two Tone. The Body Snatch, everyone else did. Bar Bad Manners. Bad Manners are on there because of the Dance Craze connection. Because they went on a Dance Craze tour. Which is a wicked record. I've got the original of that and the box set one with the 3 records in. I'll sell them all one day. I think about that the other day. I'm getting older now, man. I've got to sell all these records one day. Crazy. Anyway, let's have a look at this Madness one. And let me plug my thingy-majig in. Bad Manners, yeah, I think they're wicked, man. I got, what is it? One of my favourite Bad Manners tune is Walking in the Sunshine, man. I've got that on 12-inch. And I got, what's it, Bad Manners LP I got, man. This is Scar, I think. It's on white vinyl. That's the only Bad Manners I got. I've got Special Brew on 7-inch. Wouldn't mind Special Brew on 12-inch. Yeah, they made loads of great tunes. Lorraine, what other tunes did they do? The Can. Shitloads. That kind of music just took over, didn't it? And because I was heavily into UB40 as well, who nearly ended up on Two Tone, right? Dexys is another little story for all you guys out there. And I'll give you the George Michael connection in a minute, which is even madder. Obviously, you had UB40, which were from Birmingham, and the beat from Birmingham. Obviously, Specials and that from Coventry. And then you had, from Birmingham as well, it was Dexy's Midnight Runners. And UB40 and Dexys were going to be on Two Tone, even though the music was a bit different. But it all represented politically. They all sang about political stuff where really no one else was really doing that. I think that's why it swept across the country and sort of got everyone in, because it was talking about what was going on. Do you know what I mean? No, the other music weren't doing that. I think that's what appealed to the youth out there. That's what I think anyway. And where was I? I forgot where I was again. I keep doing this. It's my ADHD where I waffle on and my attention span drops from that. I forgot what I was saying, guys. I've done it again, but it'll come back to me like the other thing did. It's mad, man. I can have it in my brain and it's gone. You've probably done that yourself. Where you think something, you can't think of it, it's just gone. But obviously with ADHD, it happens a bit more. It's where I get so into what I'm doing, so into talking about the music, that I'm forgetting where I was. Yeah, that's it. George Michael and all that. Yeah, man. Let's get back to that. Anyway, Dexys, and yeah. See, I'm back there now. It's mad, isn't it? If you like that all the time, people, you've probably got ADHD. That goes for the females as well, because it's very prevalent today. There's a lot of girls out there with ADHD. Basically, they thought Two Tone wasn't going to go nowhere, man. Forget the number ones. Forget all them bands it was going to launch. Madness, because no one knew, did they? No one knew Madness. No one had even heard of Madness. No one had heard of the Specials. No one had heard of the Selector. No one had heard of any of it. And They said, no, we're not going on it. We don't think you're going anywhere. Right, so they stayed off it. And also, did you know that Wham, obviously you got George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley. Obviously George Michael sadly not here no more. But he was a good guy with a very good voice. But anyway, anybody that knows Wham will know how big they were back in the day. Do you know what I mean? For a pop band. But did you know, and it's in Rankin Rogers' book, the Wham Connection, they were actually a two-tone band, man. George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley were a two-tone band. How about that? I think they'd have been on the two-tone label. But crazy. Yeah, anyway, yeah, we've got specials in top place. Followed by the others. Hang on. Let's open this madness. This is the Madness picture book, guys, that I got the other day. Well, it's the deluxe box set. Boom. We are all born mad. That's certainly true. And then check this out, guys, the vinyl. Boom. Look at that for a piece of vinyl. This is the C'est La Vie deluxe box set. And I've got the crystal clear edition. And this was the one I was been eyeing up and managed to find it. And this cost me 50 quid, guys, 49.99. But because I was taking the other Depeche Mode one back, which had a couple of weird marks on it when I bought it, I just swapped it straight for that. So it was a good swap. There's the vinyl, which I'm just going to bop back in now. I keep putting the phone at the wrong angle. I'm just going to bop it back in its plastic cover, and I'll show you the rest of this. But yeah. What a mad record. I'll tell you what, I'll play it tomorrow, or maybe later, who knows. I'll show you it spinning round. It's absolutely crazy. So I'm just putting it back in the it's quite a big book, so it's quite a struggle to get it in there properly. That'll do. Right, the next page is boom. Check that out. And this is really lovely. You might have heard me play that. This is all dedicated to the memory of Jerry Hall, which I didn't even know was in this book, but I thought was absolutely brilliant. And what you've got here is the black page. And what else they do? Madness last year, when they did a tribute to Terry Hall, which is a live flexi disc, and it's Friday night, Saturday morning by the Specials, but sung by Suggs and Madness, and that's Terry Hall tribute. And what Suggs says at the beginning of that, he says, "This is for our dear friend," and then they play this tune. And I've never heard Madness. This is what attracted me to this album, guys. This is probably the sole reason I bought this album, is for this Terry Hall tribute record, because I see it was on there Friday night, Saturday morning. Didn't know it was dedicated to Terry Hall. Didn't know it had that little bit in the record there, the page, which we'll flick back to. I didn't know that this was in it. I knew that this was in it, and I thought, wow, that's going to be different. I've only ever heard Specials singing that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. So we'll flick over another page. Boom, there we go, look. This is Theatre of the Absurd presents Madness. And there you've got the Madness people. And then you've got some pictures. Sucks down there. What I'll do, I'll go through it all. Very big book, look. It's a very big book with all the words. Act 1. Anybody that's ever listened to the record will know. And by the way, that record, that multicoloured crazy looking record isn't actual the Sailor V album. That's all unreleased live stuff on that one. So it's not like they're giving you that, but you'll see what else you get. It's not over yet. That's why it costs $49.99, I think, but it's worth it for a collector. And obviously I've got all the rest of the Madness, so it just goes with my collection. Once again, you've got all the words. And you've got Act 2, The Damsel in Distress. And then all the words. The situation deteriorates. There you go. It is a crazy album, I must say. And I've been on here, look, I've been on here an hour and 2. But it's all good. More words. And then you've got this crazy intermission, that says. And you've got some mad guys there, look. And then, boom, Baby Burglar. Ah, these pictures are for each tune. That's for the Baby Burglar, isn't it? I've seen the video. Which is a wicked tune, man. I like Rounding Around myself. What you got? Boom! You got some more words. All the words there, and then you got that. And is it over there? You're asking yourself. No, it's not. You got another picture. And some more words. And you got another picture. And there's only a certain amount of copies of this that will be sold. So if you hang on to it, it'll be worth more money than £49.99. Which is why I invest in them, really. It's my pension plan, as I've said many a time. Anyway, and then what you get, guys, what you get is onto the very last page. Obviously, it's called the Sailor V luxury box set or whatever. You get, boom, Some Remain So. And then you get 2 CDs, which is the album. So it's quite a thick, big old set, but to be honest with you, it's absolutely banging. And that Terry Hall tune, I didn't even know that was gonna be and I haven't actually listened to all this properly yet. You might have seen me playing this the other night on my Techniques next door, in my music room, but I haven't really listened to it all, so I've got that yet to do. But I've listened to, well, I played that Terry Hall tribute, and that's mad. Yeah. Anyway, how long have I been on here? Shitloads of messages and things. What's the time anyway? So I watch boxing later on. I normally watch boxing at like 3 in the morning, all sorts of hours. There's someone tonight, so what I'm gonna have to do here. So I'm just gonna make a smoke and pour myself an energy drink. A Vimto energy drink. Might get another record out in a minute. Just have but I might even go and switch the deck on. Get amongst the vinyl, shall we? Definitely a mood lifter. Talking about music, I should do it all the time, man. Get me out of the depressive moods I swing into now and again. It's probably music that's kept me sane in my life. Having undiagnosed fucking this, that and the other. I've always been right into music. But to be honest with you, my mum's like made records and was a rock and roll star in the 50s. So I've kind of grown up in a musical environment, to be honest with you. My mum's records are probably worth the most out of all my record collection. One of my mum's LPs worth like, £400 or £500. But then again, that's from the 1950s. If you look up the Oh Boy Show or the 6-5 Special Show, which were the first ever musical shows ever on British TV, my mum was on all them. Also, you got Come Dancing. People in Britain will know what I'm on about. It's on BBC. All the Come Dancing. My mum was in the original house band and dance troupe in that in the 50s on the very first show. She was on about 3 or 4 different music TV shows. She was on the radio, on record, on stage. Yeah, crazy. Often said to my dad, "You did quite well then." But he reckons no. My mum went for him. He didn't go for her. But who knows? But yeah, that was in the 50s when they met. When life was very, from what I know of the 50s, obviously my mum made music in the 50s, and my dad was in a submarine. But my dad was a teddy boy. But I think in the 50s, it was after the war and people just were having fun because they'd never had fun. I think. But, yeah. Crazy. Teddy boy, eh? I don't know. I just thought I was a skinhead, really. When I was a kid, you was either a skinhead or what else was you? You could have had a fucking Mohican or something and been a punk, but... Or what else? You could have been a mod and had sort of a bit longer hair, all brushed down. We had a couple of, in a little... I was lucky, really, that I got to experience all this. Only 'cause my older cousin, Wayne, was... like a few years older than me. But when my mum passed away, it gave me more freedom to get out and about, even though I was only like 10. And that's when all the two-tone, I mean, I was born in 71, and you had like specials and that coming along in 79. So I was just a young lad, man. So I was exposed to it from an early age. And I used to be out on the street with all my cousin and all the kids. But that's how it was back then. It ain't like now, where you got all these different gangs of youths all everywhere. In my day, it was one big gang, the village gang. It didn't matter whether you was younger. Do you know what I mean? And it didn't. Your dad knew that you was out with your other pal. I mean, all the dads knew each other from the pub, and obviously, it was very pub orientated when I grew up in the 70s. It was a different world. Obviously, it was a different world in the 70s. Could you leave your door open and all that? Yeah, you could leave your door open around here. A lot of my pals' mums used to say, just walk in, Phil. But I used to knock. I don't know why. The other kids used to walk in. It might have been my ADHD. I used to just knock. I wouldn't never just walk in. Unless my pal was going, oh, come in, you know what I mean, out the window or something. Do you know what I mean? That's how it was. But yeah, it was a whole different world. Obviously, nobody was glued to their pads, iPads, phones. It was just, I mean, I can remember people queuing down the phone box. It used to be round the corner at 6 o'clock at night. You get a big line of people, all with their 2Ps and 5Ps, waiting to go on the phone because no one had a home phone really around here. It was all just a completely different environment. And that's when kids played out. I mean, we roamed about the streets. Obviously, living in the countryside, you can get out in the woods. You can get lost for for hours, man. And that's how we grew up. We used to carry little knives. I mean, it was quite a result when you was a kid growing up. If your dad got you a little penknife for Christmas, which was quite common. My dad got me a few knives for Christmas, but we didn't go around. You played splitsies with the knife. You didn't go around fucking butchering other kids. Do you know what I mean? And you're up the woods carving fucking bows and arrows, spears and that up. Do you know what I mean? That's what we did with the knives. We weren't killing each other. And it's mad how society's deteriorated. And now there's just no real respect for anyone, is there? I was brought up to respect old people and that, do you know what I mean? And say please and thank you and you know what I mean? And that's how people were brought up in my day. And people used, you know what I mean? Your mum might give you a clout if you were naughty, which I got plenty of. But you can't do that. You couldn't do that now because you'd be down a police station. Do you know what I mean? They used to beat the kid. They used to hit me at primary school when I was like young. I had a slipper, I had a cane. But then by the time I got to secondary school, that was when it was first outlawed. So they couldn't hit you then. Do I think it was right or wrong? And this doesn't bother me, guys, talking about this now. When my mum died when I was 10, I had another year to do, right, at primary school. And I had about a week off school and then went back. And they announced it, oh, welcome back, Philip, whose mum's just died, right in front of in assembly. I didn't think that was pretty cool as a young kid. And then, because I couldn't concentrate, right, which was obviously my ADHD and my mum just dying, they used to punish me for that. So I think that's wrong. And I've been back to that school when I got diagnosed with my ADHD, got on my meds, my world changed. I went back down there to see how they treated people now who'd lost their mum and how they deal with kids now with ADHD. Because they used to beat me. And do you want to know what? The headmistress out there, I said, I ain't come down to cause any trouble. I said, I've just lived here all my life and I went to this school and I've just been diagnosed at this late age with this, that and the other. And I just explained to her, and a couple of other teachers came up and listened as well, what they used to do to me when I was a kid. And she told me now, if one of them loses a parent, you know what I mean, they get the cotton wool gloves out. Which I thought, yeah, that is right, the way they do it now. But yeah, I went down my school, my old school. But the guy, my headmaster, he died a long time ago. Do I think he's right or wrong? It was probably the norm back then to give a kid a good hiding, but you would have thought there'd have been a bit of compassion there if you know a kid's just lost his mother. And I was from a big family, do you know what I mean? I was one of 5 kids, me being the youngest. When my mum died, it was 2 days after my 10th birthday, on the 8th of September. So I'd only just turned 10. Then you had my sister, she would have been 13. And then my other sister, who was 17. And my oldest brother, he would have been 10 years older than me, so he would have been 21. And then I've got another brother that's a bit lower than me older brother. So there's 5 of us. So I'm the little one. It's probably why I'm still in this house. I always got along with my dad. But I think the others, when they grew up with my dad, I think I've probably been the most liveliest with him. We've had, you know what I mean, we was like Tyson and Bruno growing up. You know what I mean? Obviously, when he's got old, we've got on very well, right to the end there. In fact, he passed away in the next room. My mum passed away in this room, and my dad passed away in the next room there. I don't mind talking about this. It doesn't faze me, obviously, because I've been there and done that as an end-of-life carer. But yeah, maybe I should go in the other room. Maybe I should go in the music room. That's what I'm planning, people. What do you reckon? But yeah, it's all just, it's quite a deep one, been on tonight. But it's all good though. That's what, maybe some people out there got a good hiding at school as well. Or your mum and dad give you a good hiding. Do you know what I mean? I know kids. I know when I was growing up, it was kind of the norm to get a good hiding if you was naughty. And that was not just me. That was my other pals that I was knocking around with as well. I think they was all getting, well, I know for a fact, some of them was getting a lot worse than me. Do you know what I mean? Obviously with the ADHD, I used to fire back at me dad. Even though he used to give me a clout, I used to, especially after my mum went, I used to just give him a load of herbal. I won't stop him. Do you know what I mean? But that's crazy. Yeah. Did that do me any harm? I don't think so. But it's a different world now, isn't it? I think that's why the country's in such a state, because any form of punishment growing up has just been erased. We're living in a world now where everybody's moaning, everybody's complaining. You can't say boo to a goose because you're not politically correct. You can't mention race, colour, creed or anything because you're just a racist. You're fucking left wing, you're right wing. Well, I'm not. And I'll get on here saying we got a fucking immigration problem and whatnot. I just tell it as it is, man. But I'm not rude. I'm not racist on here. I do swear and stuff, you know what I mean, on here. But I'm not racist at all, man. I can see fucking what's going on because I live in Kent and all these boats are coming in, man. All these dinghies are coming in. Crazy. That's why the country's in a mess. You go down your local A&E now. You see how many English voices you can hear waiting in the waiting room. And this is by no means racist. This is across the board. I've got Irish pals, right? I've got Irish blood through my Scouse mother. And across the water in Ireland, they got it as well. Where there's just too many foreign people in there, which overwhelm the services, guys. Like the NHS, yeah? Which is fucked. Excuse me English, but it is fucked. And the reason it's fucked, and they turn around the old government and like look at all us, the reason it's fucked is because we've had open borders for a long time. We've let every Tom, Dick and Harry come in, and if you got like 1,000 people paying in, right, which maintains the service, let's just say 1,000, talking hypothetically, obviously it's a lot more than that are paying in. Let's say 1,000, right? But you got 10,000 using it. Do you know what I mean? You ain't got to be a mathematician. You ain't got to be Carol Vorderman, have you? To work that out. Do you know what I mean? That's children's mathematics. Yeah. You're not allowed to say that. But I do. That's the truth. At the end of the day. But it's like this government now, this Keir Starmer. What the hell are they up to? First thing they've done, right, is cancelled the winter payments, I think, for the old age pensioners. And then give you Ukraine billions of pounds for weapons, right, British weapons, to launch from the Ukraine into Russia. Are we not now, right, enabling the Ukraine to invade Russia? which is exactly what we've gone against Russia invading the Ukraine. Does our government not think, right, that we're going to have any kickbacks from people? People will laugh, right? But about 6 months ago, I think one of the MPs said we better start training the youth to fight Russia, and now I can see why. Because what you're going to do, what do you think Russia's going to do, right, when the Ukraine launches British weapons right into their fucking territory and starts murdering all their people? What are they going to do? He's already said he's going to nuke this country. Are we not provoking him by doing what we're doing? I'm all for, right, Ukraine defending itself and us giving them weapons to knock out the big Russian missiles that come in. That's cool, right? But as soon as you start enabling Ukraine to have the capability to invade Russia, are we not just being as bad as Russia? And all you Russians out there, right? I've got no problem with the Russian people, right? At all. I've got Russian viewers, man. I've got a lot of Russian viewers out there. I think the Russian people, well, I know for a fact, are lovely people. But they are being dictated to. They've had the same, look at all these countries, right, that have had the same leader, man, all the time. Years and years and years. Like, old matey Putin in Russia, he's lost, you know what I mean? The other geezer should have been in power, but he took over again. And obviously you got Putin, who's what was he, KGB, I believe. He was the head of all that. Which is just a few subjects here tonight. But yeah, that's what I think. To be honest, I think all war's fucking pointless. What does it achieve? Killing people. And to be honest, can you blame any of the soldiers? It's just like my dad taught me when I grew up to respect all the war dead, man. The Germans, the British, all of them. Because at the end of the day, these people are only following out their orders, man. It's the people giving out the orders that need to be looked at. Like, as soon as the Ukraine gets enabled, which has been, and America is doing the same as what Britain is doing. So all you Americans out there, you ought to be aware as well. Don't think that you're not touchable just because you're an American. Trust me. I know the power of a submarine. My dad was in a submarine, and my grandfather was in a submarine. And I know what. Obviously, you got a lot of submarines. we've all got submarines, but everyone is strikeable. And what do you think Russia's going to do when the Ukraine starts hammering into their country? Who's going to? I mean, when you got different weapons, guys, right? You got different weapon systems giving out different destruction levels, right? And obviously, you start getting up to nuclear. You're talking boom. Do you know what I mean? You're talking mushroom clouds and shit like that, and pressure waves that just fucking blow down places. And Russia, still now, even after they say nuclear disarmament, no one really did that properly. We've all got nuclear submarines. And if you got all the nuclear bombs in the world, from there, everywhere, except Russia, Russia would still have more nuclear bombs. Obviously, back in the bad days, Russia had a big stockpile. It only needs one person to press the button to think out of the box and go like down that route. Hopefully, we'll never go down that route, but do you know what I mean? It's not out of proportion to think that will happen one day. Like, do you think we're going to go through our lives never seeing a World War III? That will occur at some point. Whether I'll be here to see it, I don't know. But saying that, as soon as them nukes start going up, everyone submarines know about it, and they'll start pressing the buttons. It's like my country, Britain, as we've always got. Well, we don't say where our submarines are active, where they are. It's very secretive. It wasn't my dad's day. He could never tell my mum where he actually was, or he couldn't say where you were, because obviously submarines, you're hiding. But we've always got submarines ready now, with the weapons ready to go, out there now, under the water, sitting there, ready to go. And I would presume, and I know for a fact that Britain has got that, because I know how it works. And I would presume every other power station out there, like China, Japan, fucking Russia, definitely. My dad used to spy on the Russians up under the ice, man, in the 50s. My granddad, he sadly sent a lot of boys to the bottom of the sea. But in my granddad's day, it was the U-boats against my granddad in his submarine. It was either you or them. So what do you do? But the submariners never celebrated anything. You didn't celebrate sending a load of boys to the bottom of the sea. Chaos Evolution, good evening, hello, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you're from. Yeah. But yeah, the state of the world, eh? But and the sad thing is, no one's ever learned, have they? No one's ever learned jack shit, mate. Oh. That's how stupid the human race are. Do you know what I mean? Look at how you imagine things from other planets, right? Which obviously there are things out there. It's not just us, right, evolving on this earth. There are things out there. Who knows what they are, right? But I bet things have been near our earth and probably looked in. And they could be far more intelligent than us, and they probably are. They probably looked down and seen the chaos going on in the world and thought, what the fuck are these cunts up to? Let's not stop down there. Fucking, they've got no brain cells. Flew off. That's what I think, guys. Yeah, it's a bit far out, but it's probably the truth, man. You look at the humans and what we've done to the place. Look at the planet where we've just messed up. Imagine how beautiful this planet must have been, man, in the early days. Do you know what I mean? Must have been a lovely place. But crazy. There you go. Yeah, crazy. Crazy world, crazy country. Britain's going down the pan, man. I'm not British anyway. I consider myself English, not British. In fact, I'm English, and then Irish, the Republic of Ireland, and Spanish. How about that? My mum's got an Irish name. Granddad's Irish. Yeah. But my dad, he's totally English on all sides, but not my mum. But a lot of people from Liverpool have got Irish blood in their roots. And from Manchester as well. Not that I'm a Manc. In fact, I'm a Liverpool supporter, and we lost today, Mark. I missed the score because I've been too busy, but my friend said we lost 1-0. Could have been worse though. Could have been an Everton supporter like my mum, but luckily I'm not. Someone had to be though, didn't they? Right, I'm just gonna put this on charge because I've gone down to 84. I've been gassing on here, right? This is one that could end up one of the longest lives I've done. I don't know. I've been on here 1 hour and 30 minutes and 45 seconds. In fact, it's the title of this video. I'm going down the shop. I think it could be. I'm not sure. I've started again. The joys of ADHD. You forget what you're up to, but it's all good. What I do know though is I've still got a bit of power, a lot of power in it. Don't know why that's not charging. So I've got a power bank here that I'm just putting in me Huawei. Right, that's working. Right, I'm going to roll something to smoke, pour out this energy drink, Vimto. Probably get nuked by the Russians in a minute. You'll see a big flash, man, and I'll be gone, man. I'll be dust. I'm joking. All of my Russian comrades out there, it's all cool. But I don't think it's a good idea that we're actually enabling the Ukraine to strike into Russia. Then all you're doing is, it's called a proxy war. Really, there's a lot of countries giving arms to Ukraine, and what it is, it's called a proxy war, where you're fighting a war through someone else. Crazy. And Russia regularly come into British airspace, and quite often the RAF gets sent up to escort the Russian. Quite often send long-range nuclear bombers right near into our airspace. They do that regularly. But then we just send up the RAF that tell them you got to get out of here, otherwise we're gonna remove you. And obviously they fly off. And they've done that with their navy as well. They've sailed their navy right down through, which isn't actually illegal. They've sailed their navy right down through Dover, right down through the channel now. I don't know whether it's what it is, but whether they're trying to intimidate us or what. But all I do know is that the Russians have got a very old navy, but it's a very big navy. Yeah. Anyway, it will be about the submarines. I don't know if anybody can remember all the Russian people will remember the Kursk disaster with the submariners on. Very sad. Obviously, anything growing up, anything to do with a submarine, my dad was watching, so I was watching, basically. What my dad used to do in the 50s, after the war, you had the Cold War, and my dad used to go right up past Norway, right up under the ice to the North Pole, and you had Russians were under the ice as well. And they used to spy on each other. Didn't shoot each other or nothing like that, torpedo each other, just used to spy on each other. And I often said to my dad, do you think there was other people up there moving around? And he said, yeah, there were. Obviously, submariners are not allowed to say anything. They sign even when they leave, they sign what is it? You can't say anything about what you've done for I don't know, it might have been, I think it was for life for my dad in his generation. But obviously being my dad, he told me all of it. Anything I was asking, he was telling me. Do you know what I mean? So I know exactly what submarines got up to. My dad was in there was something called the Suez Canal conflict, and my dad, which was out in Egypt, I believe, my dad was out there on active service, and he was in submarine then, and he also did something else which I can't really talk about. I might do one day, but yeah, he did something else which was quite special. But yeah, my dad didn't choose to go on submarine service. They picked my dad out. I think what they used to do, obviously being on a ship or being underwater in a submarine is a completely different kettle of fish, so to speak. Being underwater, you had to have the mental capacity to be able to handle that, being under there and all that went with it, especially in the early days, man, of submarines all leaking. You're sending them out on trials and whatnot. Any old submariners or people who was in the forces will understand what I'm saying. And it was just crazy. Yeah. And what I said to my dad is they probably look for people, it's probably my dad's ADHD, that looked a bit more tougher than the average Navy man. Do you know what I mean? People that stood out as, yeah, he don't give a fuck. Look, he's up for it. I mean, my dad said he just heard a call on the radio one day. Homewood, get down to the submarine school. My dad ended up, which is where he met my mum. My dad ended up at Portsmouth Submarine School he was teaching the young ones coming through. My dad was basically taught by all the submariners that was in the Second World War, which was my granddad was in, my Scouse Irish granddad. And my dad was taught by the people that survived that in them submarines. And then he obviously taught the younger ones. But yeah, obviously you've got to have a different mindset to be underwater. Obviously some people might panic or whatever, a bit of anxiety, but what my dad also said, when you do your training at the submarine school, they got this big like swimming pool, but it's just a thin tube of water that goes down, and there's like a lock at the bottom, like a button that unlocks the lid at the top. And what they do, my dad, he said he'd seen people pulled out of there half dead, but then that's how they weed out the, I wouldn't say crap people, the ones that are not as strong as the strong ones. My dad said you used to have to dive in. They locked the top, and this is taking a breath, guys. This is no breathing apparatus. You just went like that. And they locked the lid, and boom, you swam right down to the bottom. Pressed the button, which released the lid. You get me? Then you could get out. And what they used to do, obviously, these instructors were pretty clued up, so they could see when you're going to pass out, and he didn't make the button. He's got halfway down and he's just lost. You know what I mean? What they do, they get you out, revive you, like that. But where my dad had grown up in this village, we got rivers in the village. We got rivers, the River Medway. You know what I mean? At Golden Green. My dad could swim like a fish. You know what I mean? Just same as me. So my dad's dived in. He's had no issue. Straight down, bang, straight back up. And I suppose they picked them people. But anyway, been quite a deep one tonight, guys and girls. Oh, let me do this spliff. Yeah. I've never met any of my granddads, man. I'd like to have, just to have got their war stories. But I did ask my dad, because obviously my father's father, he was on horseback, like I was saying, in World War One, in the Lancers. And I asked my dad if his dad had ever said anything. And my dad said he never mentioned it once. But I said, he's got mates still out there in the mud. So, you know what I mean? I think a lot of them people, they called it shell shock, didn't they? Yeah, I can imagine coming back really mentally damaged by the First World, by any war, be it any kind of conflict. It's like PTSD, man. They only discovered that when soldiers started coming out of Vietnam, man. Fucking wired and lost as fuck. Tripping their brains out, not knowing what was, you know what I mean? That's when PTSD was discovered. When the Yanks come out of Nam. So you imagine all them wars before, all them boys that went to war in the First World War and got shot at dawn because they wouldn't go over the edge or showed a little bit of cowardice. They all got shot at dawn, man. Even the young ones. People as young as 15, even though I don't think they knew that it was 15 because I'd lied. But, yeah. And what you had was often these big captains and all that, and the hierarchy, were miles back in the trenches giving out the orders, got over the top. Do you know what I mean? But, Then again, there was a lot of brave men out there that have won Victoria Crosses and things who went over with their fucking men. And they would what I would call the real men. If you're prepared to go over, you're in charge of your boys, right? You got to go over the fucking top. You're going with them, aren't you? And people have won medals, mate. There was a girl in, where was she? It was a Royal Navy Submariner girl, actually, which is why I know about it. And I think that was in Iraq or Afghanistan, one of them two. I think it was Afghan. Even though they're in submarines, they do go on a... You still talk to fight, like, on land. Obviously, you have the Royal Marines that do that, and the SBS as well, which are like the SAS, except water specialists. That's what the SBS are, Special Boat Service, and they're mainly people from the Submarine Service and the Royal Marines. My father did a lot of work attached to them, which is what I can't really talk about. Well, I can, because it was years ago, but yeah, crazy, guys. Anyway, what's my battery on? 86%. I've got to watch boxing tonight. I'm going to watch Canelo, I think. Wow. I should have been a history teacher, man. Submarine. So I'm just rolling this, guys and girls. I could tell you, well, yeah, I've got to meet my oldest uncle, my Uncle Tom, which is my dad's oldest brother. When my dad was like a little boy during the war, and the war ended on my dad's 8th birthday, so like previous to that, his brother was like 17 and he was in the bombers that used to go over to Germany, in the Lancasters. He was only young, and I met him. So I often said to my dad, didn't you want to follow your big brother up into the sky, like into a plane? And my dad said, no. My dad said the only reason my dad went to the Navy is because obviously my granddad was a soldier. And all my dad heard about was marching about. My dad said he didn't fancy all the marching about. So he chose the Navy, but little did he know that he was going to end up underwater. I think, what was he on? He was on I think he was on a destroyer, a couple of other things to start with. And then obviously as you progress, they sort of get to know you. Obviously thought, he's a bit crazy, we'll stick him underwater. And you got a little bit more money then, for being underwater. It was a bit obviously more dangerous. It's probably still the case today with the Navy. You probably get more money for being under the water. Obviously if you're above the water, if anything does go wrong, you've got more of a chance of actually surviving. Saying that, my granddad's submarine was bombed during the Second World War, and you had a little bit of kit, right, guys, that went over your head, and it was called breathing apparatus, which enabled you to escape from the sub. And my granddad, he got out the sub, and he was found by a Chinaman on a beach. He was washed up on a beach. He got out the submarine, which had been here, took him water. He got out, and then he was found washed up on a beach and saved by a Chinaman. And then he went to the military hospital, got better, and then went back in the submarines again. But yeah. Right, where's me Rizzlers? I don't Don't even know where I put them. Should be here somewhere. Trying to look for me Rizzlers. Anyway, guys, what I'll do, I'll be back. Like, I'll end this video now, and I'll come back. Like, I might even get on the decks in a minute. Who knows? But anyway, whatever you're doing out there, have a good one. I hope you all don't get nuked in your bed tonight. No, I'm only joking, man. But I'm not joking about what I was saying about the war, though, and what could happen. There's always been wars since the birth of the planet, since we evolved, since the Big Bang. Anyway, whatever you're doing, guys, be lucky.